Hi everybody, hope you're all well. This is part 11 of 31 Days in August, and it's the third random viewer's choice selection for comics that I'm going to review. Today's comic was picked out at random by Alia2259. I hope I said your name correctly. If I haven't, I apologise. And it is Alpha Flight's number 22. She picked box 2, comic number 22, and it just so happened to come out as Alpha Flight number 22. Now, this is the first series that Alpha Flight appeared in their own comic. They originally appeared in Uncanny X-Men in the late 70s, and they were created by John Byrne. So yes, this is another John Byrne video. Sorry people out there if you don't like him. He wrote and drew up to issue 1 to 28 of this series, and I think John Byrne is one of the most prolific comic book writers and artists out there ever. I mean, he, in the late 70s, 80s and early 90s, he seemed to be everywhere. He's done Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men, he's done Superman. Has he done Batman? Yeah, he's drawn Batman. He's done his own work as well with Dark Horse, and more recently with IDW with his new Next Men series that he's brought out. You know, his body of work is absolutely massive, but you don't really hear a lot of people talking about him for some reason. I don't know why. He just, you know, I don't seem like it, a lot of people are talking about it anyway. His work, whether he's writing or drawing, is constantly amazing. I mean, his artwork is as good now as it was then, and I'm sure will be in the future. His writing style is just brilliant. He seems to understand the characters that he's portraying in the comics perfectly. He only wrote and drew the first 28 issues of this series. Supposedly he wasn't really keen on doing any of it, but he wanted to, you know, he got asked or forced into doing it, so he ended up just doing the first 28 issues. Allegedly. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. It's as true as Wikipedia wants it to be true. In this issue, we see Aurora at Northstar, Northstar's front door. And if you don't know the characters of Alpha Flight, Aurora and Northstar are twins. Aurora's female, Northstar's male, and they both have the ability of being able to travel at extremely fast speeds and to fly. Aurora suffers from, or used to suffer from, serious schizophrenia. She was the outward-going superhero Aurora, but also she was the very timid, very God-fearing Jean-Michel. And you have to excuse me if I pronounce that name wrong because my French accent is terrible. We see Aurora at Northstar's home, and it wouldn't be so strange if it wasn't for the fact that she is stood there wearing nothing but a bikini, and it's snowing outside. She comes in completely out of her mind, and it transpires that she originally was on a boat with Walter Lankowski. I told you I wasn't very good with names. Who is the superhero Sasquatch, and she was on the boat with him when he puts a coat around her and tries to kiss her. At this point, this is where Aurora changes back into Jean-Michel. Jean-Michel completely freaks out because she doesn't know this guy who's trying to kiss her, and she ends up flying. From what Northstar says, is the very first time that she ever flew. It transpires that it wasn't the first time that she ever flew. The very first time she flew was as Jean-Michel. I'm going to get crucified for saying that name wrong. When her powers first kicked in, which was also when her schizophrenia first kicked in as well. We then go to a very stormy city where it's chucking it down with rain, and we see Heather Hudson, who is the wife of James Hudson, who was the original Guardian. She's walking in the streets when she sees James Hudson in the distance in a crowd of people. She chases after him. The only thing is, it can't have been James Hudson because James Hudson is dead. The Guardian died when his suit malfunctioned when he was trying to save Alpha Flights, and he completely blew up. But that's a mystery to be explained later on in another issue. Unfortunately, not in this issue. To try and calm down Jean-Marie, sorry. I can't call her Jean-Michel. Jean-Marie. Jean-Paul takes her to the circus, where he meets an old friend of his who has been having a bit of trouble lately with the people that are working there. The people at the circus employed a woman called Pink Pearl, who is the exceedingly Rubenesque woman on the front cover of the comic. Jean-Paul's friend says that since Pink Pearl has been there, strange things have been happening. People in the circus have been getting injured. The rubber band man, the bearded lady, all the people in the sideshow have been injured. But surprisingly enough, Pink Pearl has known people who can come in and take their places. As Jean-Paul's friend is telling him this, who should burst into their cabin but Pink Pearl? And what can be I can only describe it as one of the most disturbing. Disturbing? Yes, disturbing. I think would be the word for it. One of the most disturbing scenes I think I've ever seen in a comic book, and I've seen some pretty disturbing things. I've read Howard Chaykin's Black Kiss, the first series. That's pretty disturbing. Jean-Marie goes for Pink Pearl, tries to attack Pink Pearl. Pink Pearl grabs hold of Jean-Marie and pushes her face into her flabby folds, suffocating her. When she wakes up, Jean-Marie is no longer Jean-Marie. Jean-Marie is Aurora. She doesn't know where she is. She doesn't know who Pink Pearl is. And she recognises her brother, but she doesn't know who the other woman is. It's at this point that Pink Pearl tells what her scheme is going to be, and she's she's explaining to everybody what her and her group are going to do. Little knowing that Aurora and Northstar are who they are. Fight ensues, and Pink Pearl gets stabbed by one of her own crew with a knife, and she faints. She doesn't die because she's got so much fat around her body that the knife just barely gets into her body, and it was more of shock that she fainted. The police come to arrest Pink Pearl and her whole crew, and it's at this point that Aurora turns around to Northstar and says, I know your secret. I understand why, you know, what you've been up to, and I'm going to tell the rest of Alpha Flights. And then it ends there. To be continued. Strange enough, in issue 22. The first 28 issues of Alpha Flights is really good. If you can get your hands on the trade paperbacks of that, it's definitely worth getting. It is one of John Byrne's best pieces that he has done. He created this group of Canadian superheroes, and he knows them probably better than anybody else. In fact, I would love to see a new series of Alpha Flight done by John Byrne, and only John Byrne. Other people have tried to take up the reins of the hero group, not as successfully as John Byrne has. And yeah, I mean this series, especially the first 28 issues of it, is to me the 80s, the early 80s. I mean, I used to love reading this when I was younger, mainly in the weekly reprints that we used to get here in the UK. I think it was a backup strip in in Secret Wars, Marvel Superhero Secret Wars weekly comic that we had here. But yeah, I mean, if you can find the trade paperback, and there are trade paperbacks of the first few issues of this, definitely worth picking up, and definitely worth looking at if you can get these in their single issues. So there you go. That is this Saturday's random review that was picked by Alia2259. Thank you very much, Alia. As with anybody who gives me any numbers, your name will go into the hat for the end of the month, where I will be doing the big prize draw raffle for everybody who's helped me out with these Saturdays and Sundays. Tomorrow's comic was picked by Hippies Collectibles, and that is, if I can find it, here it is, Fantastic Four number 387. So yep, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, see you tomorrow. Ta-ta for now.